Hey guys, welcome back. So now we're getting into the conclusion of Smashtronaut, which has a very epic ending as far as conclusions go. So let's get into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squat up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so picking up from where we left off with the Starship Hulk facing against General Ross's team of abominations while having Betty push the engine room to level 9, which caused beams to shoot from his eyes. But on the inside with us seeing this figure of Betty appear again as Bruce completely loses control. And it's here with Bruce no longer at the seat of the command deck, where she goes into her own theory about the Hulk. And so we know at this point that this isn't actually Betty. But more so in this moment, this person's like, let Betty show you. With Betty being their choice of delivery to express this theory. And as she gets into it, you also have your Savage Hulk, who at this point is still in the engine room, which like we had seen him been cranked up to stage 9. And I remember a lot of you guys was just saying like, man, what could be stage 9? And it had me thinking of a number of ideas. But this right here has Hulk against the Inhumans, the Kree, Thanos, a hulked out Galactus, which even has Betty commenting on this like, yeah, for some reason Galactus is a Hulk. But on top of that, you got the Phoenix Force and the Living Tribunal. And at this point with stage 9 being this crazy, she then says to her understanding that stage 10 is just purely hypothetical. But with her getting into this theory and saying how most people know the story of the Hulk, the story of the scared little boy overwhelmed with impotent rage because of the abuse he endured as a child, etc, etc. But over the course of years, there's been many Hulks. Red ones, blue ones, gray ones, Wolverine ones, which right away made me think of not just General Ross, A-Bomb and the others, but also Weapon H, who is a Hulk we really haven't heard from in a long time. And with him getting this small reference, it just put a smile on my face. But I'll also say that it would be nice for Marvel to bring him back. And if they do, I imagine that Gamma Flight would be like the perfect place to do it. Because mainly from talking to you guys, the question I get the most after our talks about Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk, it's how does Weapon H connect to that series in the Green Door? And I think it would be nice to get at least a few issues to tell us something. But either way, I digress. But in this case with Betty saying how there's been so many other types of Hulks, and we hear her say that it's come to the point to where it seems like everyone has got a Hulk. Bruce has a Hulk, Rick had a Hulk, Ross had a Hulk, and when I read that I was kind of like, what, Rick and Ross, huh? Somebody's gonna turn that into a bar. But it's here where she just goes down the line, Jennifer Walters, Amadeus Cho, and even the one above all. But out of all these people, there seems to be a bit of wasted potential, as if something's missing or as if someone was left out. And it's here when she's saying this and we're also watching the Starship Hulk go against Ross's abominations, to where on the outside it's escalating to a point to where these abominations, by the look on their faces, they want no part of where this is going. But it's here at this time where Betty's like, something is missing. Everyone has a Hulk, but why can't the Hulk have a Hulk? And right then the Starship Hulk hulks out. And man, this thing looks crazy. And it's just towering over these other abominations who were already towering over the Starship Hulk, with lightning erupting from its mouth and shoulders. Like, this is what a Mad Hulk looked like. And I mean, we've seen a Sad Hulk before with Clud during the Axis event, but this here is taking it to a whole nother level. And I'm not just talking about the appearance of this thing, because we talked about Club versus Nova, but this isn't that. This is just a slaughter. And while this thing is just on the outside letting loose, Savage Hulk is calling for Banner all the way from the engine room, but rather than like before where it seemed to come from a place of resentment, Savage Hulk is calling out to Banner for help, because currently in the engine room, hulked out Galactus, Thanos, and Lockjaw's got him hemmed up. But on the outside with this hulked out Hulk just destroying these abominations, we also hear radio contact reaching out to President Ross, telling him that this thing has changed, it's at least 30 feet tall, and out of all the Hulks we done seen on this planet, we ain't never seen nothing like this. And this is coming from a guy who's seen a planet of Hulks, and he's even at a loss for words. Cause on this world, they really just called them abominations. And when he sees this thing, he's like, no, this ain't that. Cause this is a Titan. And with President Ross getting this news, he orders for a G-bomb to get dropped right on top of this site, which you can kind of tell, like, for Ross in this world, like, that's his answer to everything. But with the Dr. Banner of this world trying to tell President Ross that he can't do this because there's 3 major cities in that area, and President Ross just holds a gun to his head like, no, we're doing this together, because Ross wants Banner's help to spin this narrative for the media. But when they both hear the radio confirmation that the bird is in the air, and right then Dr. Banner just tackles President Ross, because even though he's not sure how exactly he's gonna stop him, he just can't let him kill thousands of people, like the millions he already has by using Banner's G-bomb. And so it's here where we then go back inside the Starship Hulk, to at this point Captain Banner, he's made his way back after hearing the Hulk call out for him. And when Banner gets there, you still have this Betty figure who's sitting in his seat at the command deck, and when Banner gets back telling her to shut it down, and she's more or less like, or what? Well, you gonna get mad? And like, what are you gonna do? And it's crazy because she tells him, you're not in control, you have no power here. And Bruce doesn't even argue with that, and he just tells her, I know, I don't, but he does. And when Banner says this, he breaks the glass and he pulls a lever, opening the door to the engine room. And man, when that door opens, man, it's just like the illest panel of the Hulk just stepping from beyond that door after practically killing the Marvel Universe. And it's like from here as he rampages through, we get like the sickest split between what's going on with Captain Banner as well as the Dr. Banner of this world. And with how it's done, it's just brilliant, because in a way it goes back to what Banner had said about himself in this Dr. Banner of this world being different, but the story's the same. Because it's right here where we see Captain Banner release the Hulk, to where we get a split view, and we see Dr. Banner who's taking President Ross's gun, and as Dr. Banner talks to the president, it's the same conversation as Captain Banner talking to Betty. Though I imagine a few of the words are different when it switches from one to the next, but nonetheless, just like Bruce said, though the two of them are different, their story is very much the same. But on both sides, you have the situation to where President Ross or Betty, they're both trying to talk the Bruces down, and even to the point to where they're both telling the Bruces like, listen to yourself, you're not a killer, you don't have it in you. And neither Betty or President Ross could be any wronger about what Bruce has in him, because in both cases, both figuratively and literally, both of these Bruces hold nothing back, with Dr. Bruce assassinating President Ross and Captain Bruce letting the Savage Hulk confront the Titan, which from here on the outside causes the physical Titan to change back into the Hulk, with Bruce on the inside waking up in the engine room. And when he comes to, both him and the Hulk are back in there. And it's an interesting moment when we see this happen, because the Hulk tells Bruce, first, welcome home, and just after that, Savage Hulk tells Bruce that he's sorry, almost as if the Hulk knows now how Bruce has felt after all these years. But as soon as Bruce realizes what all's going on, he just rushes right back out. And we come to find out that in this very moment, the G-bomb that President Ross had ordered to drop on this site, it had been released with the payload set to drop shortly. And with Captain Banner rushing out of the engine room while also initiating the Starship Hulk repair sequence, during this time he can hear Dr. Banner telling him that he can't stop the payload from dropping at this point, but if Bruce can get himself back together in time, then perhaps they could find a way together to minimize the casualties. And what ends up happening, as soon as the Starship Hulk is reassembled, Dr. Banner gives Bruce access to his ship so that Captain Bruce can use it to pull the gamma signature of the G-bomb through this portal, and in a similar fashion to how Dr. Banner had pulled in Captain Banner back in issue 2. And the plan works, the portal opens up, Bruce gets sucked in along with the blast and radiation from the G-bomb, and on the way in, Captain Bruce adjusts the engine room to level 4 to more or less sustain the integrity of the starship. But as they leave, the last thing we hear from Dr. Banner is him say, I'm not sure where this portal will send you, but I pray that you don't end up like me, as we see the authorities go to get him, as Dr. Bruce is just sitting there next to the dead President Ross. But as the starship has made its way through this portal, the next thing that Bruce hears is incoming, and as he looks up, he sees Thor's hammer, fresh out of God of Hammers, and that thing is coming in hot. But with the scene that's here, this concludes Smashtronaut, and this is also like our lead up to Banner of War, which for a while now has been teased as the next Hulk vs. Thor event, with the conclusion of Smashtronaut colliding with the conclusion of God of Hammers. And I'm pretty sure that when this goes down, both Thor and the Hulk are going to look quite different than the promotion images we've seen, because recently they've both gotten a crazy upgrade. And with that said, I'm curious to know who you guys think's going to come out on top, because if they both go all out like we've seen them do recently, then it's going to get nasty. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below so you can go to patreon.com dope spill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.